Alright guys, welcome back to another video. Sorry for the long wait, but this map literally took me about 7 weeks to finish. As you may know, I have built many cities in the past, such as the Oasis, Modern Towers, Tilted 2119, and New York for the World Cup Warzone map. Well, this time I wanted to create a city like no other that can be used for a BR map game mode, adventures, roleplay, and races. This means every building must have an interior, the infrastructure layout must make sense, and I will have to include important buildings such as a police station, shopping centre, bank, offices, and apartments. Well, if you want to know how I pull this off, make yourself comfortable and enjoy the rest of the video. For this project, I decided to go with the Archipelago Island, as this city will be based off the Palm Jumeirah artificial island in Dubai. As always, I started by using the ring gallery to plan out the outline of the foundations first. Now I know that this might look like a massive mess right now, but I promise it will make more sense once I start building the island's seawalls and roads. Since I'm going to be using this map for a Battle Royale game mode, I need to make sure that the city's foundations cannot be broken. So I created these seawalls out of the Indestructible gallery and terrain gallery. I then copied them to my quickbar and traced around the ring gallery to give me a foundation on which to build my city on. These foundations vary in height from 1 to 3 tiles to make sure you can build on them. The next thing I had to build was the city's infrastructure. I started off by creating these road templates which I would use for every road on the map. The first piece of infrastructure I built was a bridge. This design was based off a bridge I'd seen in Dublin City called the Samuel Beckett Bridge. It was really easy to build and the white pylons only consist of 2 props each. Once it was finished, I copied it to my quickbar and pasted it in so it links both artificial islands together. To build the curved roads I needed for this map, I turned Grid Snap off and stitched the road templates together as you can see here. I then applied this building technique to the city by tracing around the edges of the island. This road layout is also a perfect circuit if I ever want to put a racing game on this map, and it will provide a path to every building in the city. Now that all the groundwork had been done, I started concepting what this city's buildings would look like. These are the first 2 buildings I created. I used quite a strange building technique by placing terrain tiles inside the floors of the structure to ensure that you will be able to use it as a foundation to build on in Battle Royale. These 2 buildings also have furnished interiors, which will set the standard for the rest of the building's interiors. The next 2 structures I created were built to be used as shops and were also based on modern architecture. I then focused on building a hotel and a skyscraper with 2 parking lots next to them. Even the skyscraper has an interior structure that you can see me working on here. By the waterfront, I created another 2 buildings which will house shops, offices and an apartment. I also laid the foundations for a city park that gives you access to the piers jutting out into the water. One of the buildings I really wanted to add to the city was a shopping centre, so I built this, which was inspired by organic architecture. At this stage I felt like I needed another skyscraper. This one has a ton of space inside it for offices and apartments, with an elevator shaft giving you access to all the floors. The very last building I created was to be used as a restaurant on the ground floor, with apartments making up the rest of the floors. To finish off the first island, I placed a ton of floor consisting of trees, plants and bushes to make the city feel more vibrant. I was super happy with how this all turned out, but I still had a whole other island to start working on. Now it was time to start working on the second island, and again I started off by creating 2 buildings, which would be used for an office, apartments, a restaurant and a shop. The next structures I built was a police station with a parking garage behind it. I made sure to include jail cells and an interrogation room to make it feel more realistic. I then moved on to creating a large office and a bank, which includes a vault. I'm really happy with how this bank turned out, as I wasn't sure about the roof design, but it was perfect in the end. The very last building I created was the city's town hall. This features an underground parking garage as well as a press briefing room. At the opposite end of the island, I still had a lot of space to work with, and with the map memory being pretty high, I decided to turn it into a park with a monument. Once that was finished, I again placed lots of different plants around the island to make it feel more vibrant. The main city was pretty much finished at this stage, but it still needed a way for visitors to access it. Originally I was going to create a port where large ships could dock, but ended up taking the more memory efficient option of creating a small airport for helicopters. I started off by building the bridge that will connect the airport to the city, and then built the artificial island and foundations for where the airport will go. I then proceeded to build the terminal, which was inspired by my airport hub map. Once the terminal was complete, I focused on designing the landing pads for the helicopters and building the air traffic control tower. Next, I placed a ton of plants around the airport complex. The helicopter I decided to use for this was a custom one I'd used in a lot of previous maps. It just fits so perfectly with the city map that there was no point in designing a new one. It was now time to tackle the interiors of all the buildings. These are the props I've assembled that will be placed in every structure across the city. I started off with the apartments by placing kitchens, dining tables, couches and TVs to make the space feel more realistic. Every floor in the building is also different to make it less repetitive when exploring, with some floors consisting of office spaces as well. I then worked on various other buildings, creating the interiors for the bank, town hall, the city's mall, and various different offices and shops spread around the city. This took me a lot of time to do, and I want to give my thanks to Cross and Fehok, who helped me with 3 of the buildings. At this stage everything was pretty much finished except for 5 islands at one side of the map. Originally I was going to put a power plant there, but my memory was way too high to allow me to do that. So instead I took a more memory efficient option and placed solar panels on these islands to provide power to the city. This was the last thing I worked on, and with that the map was complete. There are currently only 3 island codes available for this map, which are linked in the description. They consist of 2 mini battle royales for solos and duos, and an exploration mode where you can fly around and explore the map. Usually I feature a map at the end of my videos, but this time I wanted to feature a good friend and creator called Shride, who has just started a new channel where he's doing a ton of tutorials, including how to create a storm mechanic for a mini battle royale. His link will be in the description, so please do check out his content. That pretty much finishes this video. Make sure to like, subscribe and turn notifications on if you enjoyed, and I will see you guys in the next video.